Hey miniature enthusiast, J-Star here, and today I'm going to show you how I created my artist studio in the attic of the tiny Chateau Étoile. The attic in the tiny Chateau has a 45-degree angle roof, which can be very difficult to deal with. But let's just start where I started. I put in a popsicle floor and painted it gloss black, and I put in scrapbook paper wallpaper, and I actually wet it after I glued it to the walls and distressed it a bit with some tea dye. I added a radiator and I splotched the floor up with some various paints, which I'll show you more of later. I'm still working on some of the wiring, so these wires are left exposed. But while we're talking about wiring, I want to show you in every room I add a strip of LEDs underneath the front edge to light the entire room. Then you can add your hanging fixtures and your lamps, and they become accent lights, and you're not trying to light the whole room with that. To hide the wires, I just put a little runner rug back in the back because, after all, this is an attic. Now, I'm showing you this a little out of order, but I wanted you to see this back layer first. Normally, I will put in my big pieces of furniture, and then I will figure out where I can put the little pieces in the back. The main furniture is a table and an easel, so you can see through them to those back spaces. And so I just put them in the back to fill those spaces where furniture can't fit. So the three main pieces of furniture are the cubbyhole hutch, the artist easel, and the big work table. Obviously, the furniture doesn't fit against the wall, so you can see I pushed the cubby hutch right up against the ceiling, and I angled the long work table. It literally touches the front edge of the floor and the wall and the slanted roof. I mistakenly ordered this tiny coffee table from Temu without checking the dimensions, but it turns out it fits right underneath the long work table, and it gives me a little level that I can put the artist paint box on. Here are all the goodies that I've collected up that'll go into my artist studio. I've got paints and paint pots and brushes and some little crazy architectural pieces, just frames, all kinds of different things. I start by adding in the biggest pieces, the paper cutter and this giant broken candelabra. Again, I've pushed the paper cutter all the way back to the ceiling, and I've waxed it down so that I know exactly where it fits. Then I can bring the table out and dress it the rest of the way. Underneath, I've put stacks of newspapers and these great little Campbell's soup boxes that I found, which is a nice homage to Andy Warhol. I've stacked the rest of those soup boxes by the leg of the table to fill in that space. And underneath the table, I've added the artist paint box, a couple more newspapery things that I made, and then a couple frames. On top of the table, I've added some little pots and dishes and containers, and then I filled them with miniature scissors, some paint brushes that I made from toothpicks, some little colored pencils that I made from toothpicks. There's a photo, a little glass vase, and a fishbowl with a shell in it. Also notice that I've brushed more paint on the edge of the table where paint would naturally end up. And if you look way in the back there, you can see that old toolbox that I filled with just some rolled up dirty baby wipes and a brush sticking out. I want to put some more brushes in there too. I've filled the cubby holes with various things that an artist might have, string and ribbon and books and shells and dishes and photographs, all kinds of little things. And in the bottom, I've opened a drawer and put some photographs in it, and I plan to put a couple other things in some open drawers there as well. And I've also leaned this ornate frame up against the cabinet. And behind the frame, I've leaned up some canvases and different paintings. You can see them better from another angle, but I just wanted to fill that little space with artist things. And speaking of artist things, here's the most important thing: a brush, a palette, and a stool. And I've grunged them all up with more daubs of paint, just really making it look like this is a lived-in studio. And finally, a couple of my favorite details. I've got a wrench by the radiator for turning open those rusty sockets or just banging on it to try to get something happening, and a little white mouse. Now, it's said that mice in your dollhouse are good luck, so I have little white mice running all around the tiny Chateau Étoile. And that's all the elements that create my artist studio in the attic of the tiny chateau. And now it's time for a video tour of the whole space. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. From the tiny Chateau Étoile, this is J-Star saying have a great day and keep making mini.